Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
Forever and ever.
Hi, my love.
Hey, baby.
What's up?
Nothing much.
We here.
We're here. We made it.
Back at it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say we dropped the episode on Halloween, and I feel like it was weird timing. Like, everyone was super busy. Everyone was, dealing with Halloween issues. Not issues, but like
festivities.
Commitments. Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't watched last week's episode, watch that. Leave a comment. Even if it's just a hello emoji, it really helps the algorithm. So if you watch this on YouTube, please leave us a comment. Please leave it a thumbs up. Do the same for this video. You could even pause and just comment something now just to help us out in the algorithm. If you're listening from a podcast app, take a moment to give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. If you was going to leave anything less than a 5-star, you can just continue listening.
Exactly. So yeah, how was your week, babe?
It's been a good week. We had that exciting announcement, like a little teaser about our, what do you call it, apparel line coming?
Yeah. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, we basically dropped a reel that revealed that we're starting an apparel brand.
Yeah, it's exciting. Mm-hmm. It's nerve-wracking. It's all the feels, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we actually got the courage to bet on ourselves because of all of your support. So thank you so much for tuning in week after week.
Yeah, I think a lot of it came from people like, well, can I buy something?
Mm-hmm.
And
can
we're
I
just
have
like,
some merch?
Soon.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to do something more than just merch.
Yeah.
So we're really excited for you all to see what's happening.
Yeah. By more than merch, it's like, we have a logo. We did a collaboration with Save Mankind. That was awesome with our logo on it. But we wanted to do more than that because it's like if you want to support us and you buy a t-shirt with the logo, that's one and done. We wanted a way to continue it as an apparel brand. So the goal is for the future to have items available that celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, holidays like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas. And it won't be just things for couples, just relational things that even single people would like as a gift.
Definitely. And that's still going to be on our website, we still like each other.com. If you have a second, make a second and go to the site, very bottom, you can sign up for our newsletter. Outside of the apparel and the podcast, we have some exciting things coming up and you'll get something in your email when it drops. So yeah, take a second.
Yeah. So don't make a second, find a second. If you know how to make time, DM me because I need to figure out how you do that.
You make time, find time.
Find time.
Okay.
I guess, semantics.
Yeah, whatever.
The video, the episode, what am I talking about? The reel did really well on Instagram. And then it did nothing on TikTok. We have nearly almost 100,000 followers on TikTok, but the video was viewed like 500 times, if that.
Yeah, so the algorithm, people claim to understand it, but no one really does. But I think from what I noticed is that once you're in like a niche, they try and keep you there. And if you kind of stray away, they want to see that you're going to consistently be dropping that type of content before they put you on like the main highway. Yeah. So our niche right now is podcast clips, engaging conversation. But we decided to drop something that was like clothing and DIY. Mm-hmm. And they're like, whoa, pump your brakes.
But I don't get why not just show whatever we post to the people who follow us?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
And it also has you think about just like even followers and numbers, because it doesn't really mean shit. It's not like back in the days where you had that many followers and then people were going to see it. Mm-hmm. Now it's...
Yeah, even like with YouTube, we reached 10K subscribers because one of our clips kind of went viral on YouTube. But it's not like we get 10,000 views. So it's like, what do the subscribers actually mean? I feel like the views matter. The engagement matters more than who's subscribed or who's following.
Yeah. So I don't even get caught up in followers. I go to what does it for me are comments.
Comments, yeah.
So if I see that...
Words of affirmation. Love us.
So when I see comments, I'm like, oh yeah, this person's really doing it. So leave us comments, make us feel good about ourselves. Mm-hmm. We don't do drugs. We need y'all.
We need affirming words. Speaking of love languages, so my mom has been here for a couple of days.
Yes.
And it kind of reminded me of a conversation we had with Tab. So Tab from a couple of episodes ago asked us, what is our giving love language? Like, how do we love our friends, right? And I instantly thought mine's are acts of service, because I'm the friend that will like go help you clean your house. If you like don't like the way your closet's organized, I'm like gonna Marie Kondo that shit. I'm that person, and I don't get bored of it. I don't get tired of it. Like, I just have a motivation. Like, if I see something that needs to be organized, I'll do it. And then my mom came and completely reorganized our garage. And I'm like, that's where I got it from. Yeah. Like, that's literally my mother's love language too.
Steph has been putting on our to-do list for weeks, the garage. And anyone who has a garage, I think our friend Brittany said it best. It's a trap. You just pile stuff in there and you just kind of forget about it. There are things that you rebuy that you lost in your garage, and we were falling victim to that. And Steph was aware of it, but more than being aware of it, she actually wanted to do something about it. And I was just like, I'm good. Yeah. Not, I appreciate it now that it's clean. But even
he didn't care. He was fine. Like, he slept like a baby at night, knowing it was a mess. It was stressing me out.
Nightmares.
It was like literally stressing me out. I'm like, I need to get this garage in order. Like, it was embarrassing. Anytime we opened the garage and a neighbor walked by, I was like embarrassed.
So I don't think you didn't tell your mom until she came, and then she was immediately on board.
Yeah.
And to the point where I think I was on the computer, and Stephanie told her about it, and all of a sudden her mom's gone, and she's in the garage getting started.
Already started without Travis or I helping her. She was just ready.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So now, of course, I look like an asshole, so I gotta help.
Yeah.
So, mostly due to the fact of her mom, kicking our ass in gear, but it got done. And I've gone out there to look at it at least 10 times, just kind of like, wow, man, look at this garage. I could actually park my car in there if the weather gets bad.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Impressive.
But anyway, back on the topic of how we love our friends, it was kind of eye-opening to us, because the ways that I'm used to loving up on my friends now in adulthood, now not living as close to my friends, and now having children, being married, my friends having kids and stuff, I can't really love them in that way. Like, acts of service is becoming harder and harder to do. So it's like the same way in romantic relationships, we have to evolve, right, to how our partner receives love. We got to do the same with friendships. And it's like, if I don't adapt, I'm going to lose contact with my friends, because the way I'm used to showing them love, I technically can't really do anymore.
Yeah. And, Tab asking that question had me reflect, and it was kind of a sad answer, because I'm like, who do I even call like a friend like that, and who am I actually pouring into to even identify that love language?
Yeah.
And that was like a hard truth to swallow, that there really isn't anyone. And the best way I could answer the question was that I know how I want to show up for people, and I know what I am capable of providing in a real friendship, but am I actually doing it for anyone? No. Yeah. I identified it as acts of service. I feel like I'm a very reliable person in my personal life, and I think it just easily translates into what I can provide in a relationship, friendship.
Yeah.
I think the sad part for me was just knowing that I'm not giving that to anyone, or
like, you couldn't really answer the question, because you're like, I'm not actually practicing any love language when it comes to friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did say that you are a very reliable person. If I try to think of how to apply, like, which love language that relates to, I was thinking quality time and acts of service. It could be dangerous, because then I feel like you have these friends that you rarely talk to unless they need something. And I don't know, I feel weird about that, because there's people who are like, oh, you never hit me up, but now you need something. Well, yeah, and I expect you to be there for me. Like, I don't want my friends, like, if I could help them in something, I don't want them not to reach out because they haven't reached out in a while.
Yeah, and I'm not that type of person.
Yeah.
I'm very much the person that I can pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
And I understand everyone's doing life. I'm 34 now. I understand that not everyone's waiting. I'm not waiting by the phone for any phone calls, and I don't expect anyone else. Like
Yeah.
everyone's living their life. When someone takes the time out their day to reach out to me, whether it's a phone call or a text, I don't hold it against them that it's, when I look at the text history, it's been 6 months. We back at it. I appreciate that. I appreciate this moment right now. I'm not focused on the empty space.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a slippery slope, right? Because if they are just only asking you for like one specific thing, you could start to feel like you're being used in a sense. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're not able to be used, you're useless.
Yeah. I guess we have to be aware and don't be taken advantage of. But if anything, just take a second to reflect on how you love your friends, how your friends love you, and what you can do to improve. I'm not a big gift giver, but I know I have some friends that receive love in the form of gifts. So I have to be a better gift giver. Just like you really like words of affirmation, which you might not admit. I had to learn how to give those words of affirmation more naturally because you're important to me. I love you and I want to make you happy. So the same thing should apply to your friendships, if that makes sense.
It does.
All right. Did you know
birth control alters your taste in men? If you're in a relationship and want to protect yourself from unwanted pregnancy, you'll probably turn to birth control pills. You may find that your partner isn't as attractive to you as he once was. Kind of weird, right? Well, there's a scientific explanation for this. Birth control pills are hormonal, so it's expected that there might be some side effects. One unwanted effect of birth control is that it may alter your perception of what kind of partner you want.
Listen, I know birth control does some weird shit to you, so I believe it 100%.
So, as soon as I read this, I thought of our conversations. And I remember at one point, you're like, I want to get off birth control, not because I'm hoping we get pregnant right away, but because I don't know myself off of birth control.
Yep.
And admittedly, when you said it, I was like, what the fuck does off, like, know yourself? Like, what does she think? Am I about to have like a different girlfriend or
Maybe.
wife at the time? Wife. And I don't think I even fully understood what that meant when you said it. And just kind of, through conversations with you and even reading this, did you know? It's like, that shit changes you.
Literally.
So my question to you is, were there ever any concerns about you getting off birth control, like what that would do to you?
Honestly, I was so optimistic that it would just make me a better person. Like, being on birth control since your teenage formative years, and that time of your life is rough anyway, even without hormonal birth control. Then going into adulthood and just never really learning how to get a hold on my emotions and my reactiveness or whatever. I just was hoping that, like, I'm probably less of a bitch if I get on birth control. So I never had any negative concerns. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I need it. Even though some women do like to control cramping or headaches or other array of things. But I was thinking more so, how is it going to make me relationally, like in terms of relating to you, being a better mom, even just getting off of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Is it fair to say that you are attracted to me on birth control and off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the only times I'm probably not attracted to you is when you're being a dick. Has nothing to do with birth control or not. Okay. But it would make sense because your hormones kind of not depict, but they influence like your desires. So maybe different hormonal balances might make different things attractive to you or not.
Yeah.
Or I think about when you're like having bad period cramps, like everything annoys you. So maybe your partner's like less attractive. I don't know.
Yet another reminder that women do a lot or take on a lot.
Yep.
Because I don't got to do anything except splash some water on my face. Good to go.
I know. Yeah. It's a lot. That's why women don't feel bad when you like need the man to pay up more, because we pay up more in other different ways. Am I lying?
Church.
All right. So topic 1, it's kind of inspired by my need to prove why my toxic behavior is justified.
Yeah, I don't get any inside info on what we're going to talk about until we sit down. So this is going to be fun.
So no, it's not that I think my toxic behavior is justified, but in the midst of being toxic or acting out my reactiveness, my first line of defense is justifying it. Like, I'm acting this way because.
Okay.
And I try to find blame or I'm acting this way because you did something. Like, I put blame on my trigger, like who triggered me, the person that triggered me, the thing that triggered me. But that takes away the accountability, right? Like, it's like, I'm only acting this way because you did X, Y, or Z. So I'm so grateful to this podcast because it's pushing me to grow and learn more about relationships, right? When we started this podcast, it's like, oh, let's talk about our relationship. We don't see young people like us that are happily married, and we were trying to fight the whole, oh, marriage sucks, it kills your sex life. Let's talk. But 66 episodes in, we need to expand our knowledge in order to still have something to say.
Yeah, we have to dig a little deeper.
Yes.
I think this would have slowly got boring if it were just us recanting our stories.
Exactly. So it's pushed me to like read more, do more research, learn more about relationships, right? And I'm doing a lot about that. And even though it's a lot about us, I'm learning more about myself as an individual too, right? So yeah, I'm learning about relationships, but I'm learning about how I show up in relationships and why. So many times I've casually brought up my reactiveness. Even on Tab and Pete's episode, Tab talked about how she's had to learn how to be powerful and bold without being mean and scary. And I'm like, preach. And so many women DMing like, oh my God, what's your secret? Like, yes, I have the same issue. And I think many women could relate because physically they know they're weaker than men. Society has, we live in a patriarchal society that kind of deems women as inferior, right? So we kind of become these fiery, bold women as a defense, right? But we don't have to be that way. We talked about our soft era, right? And like being softer.
I meant to send you this this clip I just found, but I forgot to send it to you. It was basically like when you're trying to be in your soft girl era, but you're Dominican.
Oh yeah, and it was like coño mama huevo, some shit like that. Exactly. So basically, yes. Over time, I've become less reactive. And then when I do react, because I'm not perfect, no one's perfect, I'm still going to have my moments. They don't last as long. Like, I can recover much quicker.
I think the biggest thing for me is that you're aware of it. And you've even gone as far as apologizing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
repair. I feel like that's been big for me. Like, apologizing for it. I never want to just let things go and act like they didn't happen. Like, repair is a big part of like my own healing journey when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tell a couple of stories about how I've literally actively working on being less reactive.
Okay.
So earlier this week, I literally was the worst version of myself to Eli. And it's because I've talked about it before. My temper, or I'm very irritable if we're running late in the morning, right? And I know that. So I've been working on it. So I make sure we're up with enough time. And smooth sailing for the most part on mornings, like I just make sure we get up on time. I don't have to rush him out the shower. He moves really slow. But again, it's not that he moves slow. It's that he's 8 and it's the morning, Earlier this week, I was so tired. Guess what I did? I'm snoozing the alarm. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, I have this many minutes. We'll be fine. We don't need more than that. It'll be good. I get up. I wake Eli up, super cheery. And I'm like, we're short on time today. So I need you to get in the shower, Don't play around. You just in and out, clean your body and out the shower. Okay, mom, I got it. So I'm here thinking like I'm in control, right? Of course, the inevitable happens. Eli's moving like a typical 8-year-old. My concern and my fear of being late is not his problem.
Mm-hmm.
His problem is this water feels real nice in here.
Let me get this song off.
He plays music in the shower. So my concerns are not his concerns. And now the sense of control I had, he's threatening it. So I think, right? So I'm like shouting at him from the kitchen, like, oh, hurry up. But he's like, I don't hear you, mom. So I feel myself like getting triggered. Like, I'm literally walking up the stairs and I'm like, stay calm, Stephanie. Like, this is one of those moments. Like, I think I'm in control. I got it. As soon as I went in that bathroom, it's like, it was wiped clean and I just went into a rage.
Is it because you just saw him chilling or?
I guess. Who knows? It's like, even though I thought I had it in the bag, like even as I'm walking to this moment that I know is triggering for me, I was like, stay calm, Stephanie, stay calm, Stephanie. And then instantly it was gone and I'm screaming and I'm blaming. I'm like, it's because you don't do this. You. Instantly regretted it. Instantly felt terrible. It was like the worst version of myself. It's exactly who I don't want to be.
I think you texted me right away, right?
Yeah, I text you like, what the hell is wrong with me? Because I'm walking up the stairs telling myself to stay calm and then I don't. So then when I apologized to him, because again, repair is a big part of like my healing journey, he said, it's okay, mom, because I deserved it. And that shit crushed me. And it's like he's already learning very similarly to like I learned, like I deserve those things, or like, you know, my mom's just trying to teach me a lesson. Like this is just part of it. Like it's okay. And I felt really bad. And I told him, I said, no. Yes, I was upset because you were moving slow, but that doesn't mean I have to lose control. You know, I can still ask you to move faster without being mean about it, without screaming. So this topic was about that, about even if somebody does trigger you, or even if someone's doing something that you expect different, if someone's disappointing you, don't fuck up your own healing because that person is disappointing you or letting you down.
What do you think it says about me that I don't have those feelings?
What feelings?
That like you were walking up those stairs and you were like psyching yourself up, basically like, everything's gonna be all right. I'm just gonna go in there and just kindly tell him to get out the shower. And then you saw it and you reacted. I don't think even in a moment of rushing or being late, I guess I'm answering it while I'm saying it, but I just wouldn't have opened the door. I can't think of a moment where I just felt that
like you would lose control and be outwardly angry.
Yeah, but I think I would probably be inwardly. So
you would be inwardly. So in the reading that I've been doing, in the book Us, there's people on two opposite ends of the spectrum, and I think we're literally the opposites. I'm the outwardly angry, expressive, like I could get scary person. You hold everything in, and then you're passive aggressive, which is both toxic as fuck. Mine just seems scarier because it's obvious and everybody sees it. But both do like equal amounts of damage in a relationship if it's unchecked. So yeah, and I think we talked about like when I was running late and you being passive aggressive, and then, you know, you honestly didn't even realize it was an issue until someone else brought it up. Like you look mean that day. You look upset. So both suck. But again, we're healing, we're learning, we're growing. Which leads me to want to talk about me kind of losing my shit on you. Do you remember?
We're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember? It was very brief.
I do. I only remember because, you know, how there has to be something that happens in a moment, like for it to stick with you. And you apologizing is what made everything come together.
But it was so similar to what happened with Eli.
So tell the story. So
basically, it was laundry day. I did laundry. I was cleaning. Like I was just in a groove with like everything I had done. I had took chicken out to cook, and I already mentioned it to you. Like I'm gonna make chicken thighs. Like, but then once like 5:30 hit, I was exhausted. Like I burned myself out. So I had said,
I think I was on the bus heading home, and you got a text, and it was like, I need to plan, or we need to plan that we do
don't
takeout.
cook.
We do
Yeah.
takeout when I do laundry because it's just too much.
I'm too tired. By the time I thought I was gonna do it, but I crashed and burned once it hit like 5:30. So I was like, I'm not gonna cook dinner. We have to do takeout.
So I got off the bus and I got in the car, and I had to stop at the pharmacy for something. And I remember pulling into the pharmacy like, so what do you want to do for dinner? I was like, I don't know. You know, the usual couple conversation about no one knows what the other wants for dinner. You're just going back and forth.
But you made a comment.
I made a comment in the midst of that and said, I was like, I don't know. We were supposed to have thighs or something. Chicken thighs. And I feel like I'm having deja vu, but I've definitely, you know, something's coming out your mouth and you're trying to catch it before it hits the other person's ear. And I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that.
And I got upset. And you're wondering, like, why would that upset you? But background is like, as a woman, and many women probably can relate, or as the caretaker, as a person that's home, I have a lot of pressure. Like, I feel like I have to cook dinner. I have to clean the house. I have to take care of the kids, because then I feel like a failure as a woman. And it's probably not even anything that Travis puts on me, but more so like society at large, my upbringing, what the messages we see on TV, you know, just telling people that you don't work, that technically don't work, you know, like I don't have a job, I'm home. It's like dinner should be on the table. And I have all these pressures on me that is not Travis, but they're just there. They exist. I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know who's putting this pressure on me, but it exists. And Travis knows how I feel about that. So then when he makes those jokes, I feel like it's one of those jokes that actually have some truth to it.
She thinks I'm trying to like do a subtle jab. And
yes.
That's not me. And, you know, you can't control how someone receives your message. Mm-hmm. So, and even though I've said like, listen, for the record, there will never be a time where I'm just like trying to jab you on the low or say something with a double meaning. Mm-hmm. It's just not how I feel. I have no problem. I actually would probably prefer if we did takeout, because that means I don't have to clean or help you clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
So in that moment, it was just me kind of being my jokester self, and obviously knew immediately after that this could trigger something where she's having her inner turmoil with dealing with being the homemaker and the one who's staying at home. So I felt bad in that sense. But even now, I still feel like, come on, like I don't do that to you. I'm not like out here like, joke or not, I don't even mess with you like that. So
I know, but I was triggered. And in me explaining it to you, as I'm explaining it to him, I'm getting more angry and angry and angry. And you're just like, I know, as soon as I said it, I knew I shouldn't have said it.
And mind you, I'm in the car in a parking lot of the pharmacy, and I'm just kind of like, the car's set up to the Bluetooth. So I'm just kind of like talking to the steering wheel. I'm sure someone was looking at me, but yeah, continue.
And I was like, he goes, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're not sorry, because you always do it. Like, you always make these little jokes and da-da-da. And it's like, then I said something to the effect of, I have to get like this for you to realize how serious I am about something. And I'm putting the blame on him. Like, I'm getting angry and speaking in a nasty tone because he made me, right? So again, we hang up, and I'm in my healing phase. So I quickly realized, like, I didn't need to get like that. Like, it was not that serious. So when I call him back, so even before he gets home, and he's only like, 10, 15 minutes away, I called to apologize. But you instantly said, just kind of like what Eli said, like, no, you don't have to apologize. Like, I know what I did wrong. So you felt like you deserved me being that way. And again, it was just like another reminder of like, I don't want you to feel like you ever deserve to be spoken to in a disrespectful way. And I don't want Eli to feel that way too. So I was like, no, even if you made an inappropriate joke, even if you let me down, I shouldn't come out my face and be this person I don't want to be. For my own healing, my own growth, I shouldn't let you take me there no matter what. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because so many people could relate to being like that aggressive person. And I feel like what we do is we find an excuse. We say, you made a joke that you know would trigger me. You took too long in the bathroom, even though my directions were explicit. So now I'm going to become this monster that I don't want to be. And it's like, it's counterproductive. It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. I forgot I said that. Yeah, it's kind of like...
And I was like, no, don't say that. Like, I shouldn't have spoken to you like that, no matter what. You could have been wrong. I didn't have to also be wrong.
Hearing that after hearing Eli say the same thing is kind of like, wow. Yeah.
I'm going to try to find something in the book that I just remembered was in here. So, Travis, you might have to cut this part because I don't remember where it is. Okay.
I could just fill for time. If you've gotten this far, you should be liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. And if you're listening on podcast apps, you should be leaving us a 5-star review. Anything less, just keep on listening to the smooth sounds of WSLEO. Yeah, got it, my love?
Okay.
And we're back.
Yeah, I found it. Okay, so I'm going to read this paragraph. It's in the book Us. I'm actually going to talk about this book in the next topic as well, but this conversation just sparked the memory. I'm like, I have to read it. So it says, start with this. Swear off unkindness, swear off disrespect. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself, does what am I about to say fall below the line of basic respect? Is there a chance the listener will experience it this way? I would like you, dear reader, here and now in this moment to take the following pledge. Come hell or high water, short of outright physical self-defense, I will not indulge in words or behaviors that are disrespectful to any other human being, and neither will I sit passively by if someone is disrespectful to me. So this reminded me of me versus you. I will ask them to speak differently to me, and if that doesn't work, I will break the interaction and leave. But I won't just be silent and absorb it. In either direction, dishing it out or taking it in, I am right now today swearing off disrespectful behavior. I don't need it. I am developing the skills of soft power, speaking up, and explicitly cherishing at the same time.
When you read that to me the other day, I was like, holy shit.
Right? Because it was like literally me and you.
It was describing both of us. And, I never view the way I am in this relationship or any relationship as like, this is negative or this comes from some
unresolved like childhood shit.
Exactly. I've just kind of been living my life, and through this podcast, through our personal conversations, kind of forced those conversations and forced to like peel back the layers. And it's true, like, the fuck you talking to? And obviously I would never come at you that way. That way, it's not in my personality, but I can challenge you to do better for me
and for myself, because you're very supportive, and it's like, in knowing that I don't want to be this way, it helps if you just be like, you're being who you don't want to be.
No,
but for yourself at the end of the day, because
that doesn't only translate in relationships. That could be like professionally, that could be friendships. I don't think anyone deserves to be talked to in any type of negative way. So hearing that was an eye opener for me, and something I hope to practice. Yeah.
I remember there was a time you had a little issue with a friend, and I remember encouraging you to like speak up, and it was kind of a slap in the face. They didn't care, but I was proud of you that you like stood up for yourself. So yeah, this kind of reminds me of what you asked earlier. Like, what about the opposite? Like, I would never say anything, but you should, like, in me wanting to be softer towards Eli doesn't mean I'm going to let him run me or think he's the parent or think that we're equal in terms of authority in the house. You know what I mean? Like, there's a balance. But yeah, I needed to find that quote because you reminded me of it so much. All right, so we're going to pay some bills, baby.
Yes.
All right, so this week's episode is sponsored by Cloud9 Butters.
You see the banner.
Cloud, the number 9 Butters. They're on Instagram. Their website is cloud9butters.com. It's basically a skincare company that makes homemade products. It's a small business, Black-owned business that I highly recommend you check out. Again, that is Cloud9 Butters. This week, I wanted to talk about their original unscented scent, like the original, the OG.
Yeah.
We have the oil, and Travis has been using it for my foot rubs, so he's trying.
I'm doing better, y'all. Y'all know I struggle.
Yeah, my physical touch love language. He's trying. I have to like nudge him a little bit, but after I kicked him in the face, he learned to stop. Not kidding. I also use a little bit to kind of add extra moisture to Eli because, you know, my boy, he's black and he's ashy. And even though he puts lotion on, he needs like a little bit extra for his knees and his elbows. So I kind of just go in after he's lotioned up and just seal in the moisture with the oil, and it's been working excellently. So again, Cloud9 Butters, check them out.
Highly recommend.
All right, so on to our next topic, and it's another topic from the book Us. And on episode 63, we talked about it, and we were talking about inner child, adaptive child. So if you didn't listen to episode 63 and you want to know more about this book, I recommend going back. Today, we're going to talk about infidelity. What do people say when it comes to infidelity in a relationship? It's usually what?
It usually happens when they're lacking something.
Okay, so you're taking it there. But what I was thinking is, for most people, it's a deal breaker.
Oh, okay.
Like if you ask, what are your deal breakers? Most people say abuse, physical abuse, and infidelity.
I think most people say that until they're actually in that situation.
Yeah. It's tough. It's easier said than done. Honestly, even with abuse, most people think like, I could easily be done. It's harder than that because relationships are complex.
Yeah, you kind of speak from a place of privilege, right?
Because you haven't been in the situation.
My favorite example is like when people in 2022, black people be like, I could have never been a slave, man. You know what I would have said to master? Like, I'm like, bro, you are speaking right now with your life experiences. You don't know what those people were going through mentally back then. So bringing it to this, it's like, you can't say I will never. I don't think anyone should ever say I would never. I mean, to an extent.
Yeah.
But
like have the boundaries, of course. But you never know what you'll do when you're actually in the situation. And it also reminds me, like, don't judge other people for what they do while they're in the situation. So yeah, it's known as a deal breaker. So in this book, Terrence, he talks about infidelity, how it impacts a relationship. But before I get into that, babe, I wanted to ask you, why don't you cheat? Like, what keeps you from cheating? What stops you from doing the relationship no?
I think there's a few things. One, I know it'll make our marriage very difficult if I did.
Okay.
I don't know for sure whether or not you leave me, but it's like, do I want to gamble that?
Okay.
So those thoughts run through my mind. And then I also think about what I'm doing it for.
Okay.
Like I could be gaining 30 seconds of fun for a lifetime of misery.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing at 30 seconds? That's my new world record.
Okay.
So yeah, I weigh those out, and it's not worth it to me.
Okay. So mostly related to not risking our relationship.
Yeah.
All right. So many people in general might have that same reason, right? Like, I'm not risking what I have here. Like, it's not worth it. The pain it's gonna cause, the risk I'm taking, the fact that I might lose my relationship. That's the truth for most people. That's why people shouldn't cheat.
Why don't you cheat?
Same. Well, one, I don't want to lose my relationship. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to have my sons think that I risk their stability and their home for like some fun with someone. Like, and I've never had a desire to be with someone outside of this relationship, like genuinely, you know, not the human stuff that you think someone's hot or cute, but like to really be like, I'm gonna
risk it all.
Risk it all. No, I've never had that. But Terrence talks about that there's 2 reasons why people ignore that. Ignore, even though they know like it could hurt people, and this is my no. I don't want to hurt my kids. I don't want to hurt my wife. I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm a man of honor. I'm a woman of honor and integrity. There's 2 reasons why people usually say fuck that.
I'm all ears.
So I put a bookmark this time so we can find
no
it.
editing.
No editing. So number 1 is the unfaithful partner has insufficient constraints in themselves. In other words, their selfishness trumps their relationality. Sooner or later, they'll cheat on anyone. The issue in these cases is narcissism and entitlement. Life is short and I deserve it. And remember I talked about how cheating is like a childhood trait, like you're still in your child brain in a sense, because you have that FOMO, like that fear of missing out, that life is short. Let me just do it. And I think once you enter your adult brain, you should not have that same urge, that same FOMO anymore about being with different people. Like you reach a point that you're like, I could spice up my relationship. I don't need to seek validation elsewhere.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think like what was my motivation.
Okay.
I was a cheater, and I'll be honest. My motivation wasn't like I was unhappy. Like, yes, I was unhappy, but that wasn't why I was doing it. I just felt like, for me, it was just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like the challenge. Like, it was, collecting Pokemon.
You felt entitled to it. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? That's one. The other one is the relationship has become so unsatisfying, so contentious or distant or dead that the cheater feels like there isn't enough worth protecting. If I'm found out, oh well, it's not so great in this marriage anyway.
Gotcha. I can see that. And I think there are times where you justify it by like having a big argument or a big disagreement. And in that moment, you're just like, I don't give a fuck if we hold on to this or not. So if I get caught, fuck it.
But that's where people have to be careful, because even us, we've had fights or disagreements where for a little bit you think like we're not going to get past this. But if in that short moment you're already thinking about cheating, or you already cheat and make a horrible choice in that short amount of time, it's like, get your shit together. I think he's talking about more long-term feelings of dissatisfaction, of feeling like your relationship is done for like an extended amount of time. Not, oh, we had a fight and now I have an attitude, because that's what a lot of people do. They fuck up. Oh, well, we had a fight, or we was on a break. Fuck the breaks. I think in this, what he's talking about is like real long-term problems. Like they've addressed an issue multiple times. There's never been a solution.
So wouldn't you say the answer to that is just to separate rather than...
Absolutely.
You're describing all these things that, all right, if you cheat when this happens, but it's like, it sounds like your relationship was dead in the water way before you decided to step out.
So what happens is those people probably don't know how to communicate that. They don't know how to actively express this relationship is dead.
Have you ever broken up with anyone like a adult relationship, or even a young adult relationship? Like I can't say that I've ever set someone down and said we had a good run. Like it's just always been some toxic separation.
Yeah, no. And I haven't had that many relationships either. So like, no, it's never been like, we need to end things. But I feel like that usually happens now in adulthood. People who are married, people who have children, people who've been together long term. Those types of conversations, those types of breakups probably happen more often now at our age, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is, if we're thinking of rule number 1 or reason number 1 that people bypass their nose is like, they feel like they're entitled to it. It's narcissism. It's entitlement. Those are things that people learn in childhood. So if a partner says, I messed up, I cheated because I'm a narcissist, but I'll go to therapy and do better, do you think they're deserving of a second chance?
One, I would never see anyone saying that, because you you would need therapy to be aware of that.
So aware of it. Or what if they're saying, my father always cheated on my mom. It's just what I learned doing. It's just what I thought you were supposed to do. Even like you said, like, it's just what I thought happened. That's what men do.
So, no, because even in me saying that, I knew it was wrong. So I don't think that's an excuse in the sense that it's kind of like when your kids tell you, well, everyone was doing it, and then you hit them, well, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you do it?
Yeah. I don't think that's fair, though.
Why not?
Because even when, like me, apologizing to you and apologizing to Eli, I knew it was wrong before I did it, before I lost my temper, right? And obviously that's a quicker, like, it's a quick reaction versus like deciding to cheat takes a lot more commitment than me overreacting to something. But in the same way that I expect y'all to give me grace and accept my apology and explain, like, listen, all my life, this reactiveness protected me from something. This reactiveness was necessary for my development. And now in my adulthood, I'm trying to do better. And I expect you to give me grace. Would someone who has seen a parent cheat, has been taught that they're entitled to things, that the world is theirs, they just have to take it, do you think those people are also entitled to grace and opportunity to change?
Listen, because it's me, yes, right? I wanted grace. I still want grace.
Yeah.
My father cheated on my mother. I've known that, like, that's like my earliest memory as a child.
Yeah.
I don't think it shaped. I don't think in my head when I was cheating, I'm like, well, my father did it. Like,
so that's the thing. When things are passed down from generation to generation, it's not that clear. Like, it's not like you're saying, I'm doing this because my father did this, but it's like a sense of entitlement that you just have, or that it's just something that happens because you've seen it modeled. And I don't think your example is, because you knew that he cheated. It's not like there was a revolving door. Like, there was an example of a person in here who his father would literally take him to the girlfriend's house and be like, don't tell your mom. That's a different type of trauma and a different type of learning that went on for his behavior than like, oh, I just knew he cheated. That's different.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if they're aware of the issue and are willing to get help, do you think they should be given the chance and afforded the opportunity?
Yes, 100%. And I think that with a lot of things, outside of like committing like an actual crime, I think most people deserve a second chance. Shit, I would say even third, because people fall off the wagon. Like, how many times have you heard of someone, they'll be sober for 10 plus years and then something happens, something triggers them, and then they fall off. Is that person a low life? Should we just get rid of them?
Yeah.
No, but people, like, what about those 10 years?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, yes, everyone deserves a second chance if they're willing to put in the work. But with that is like, if you keep fucking up, your partner's entitled to be like, I'm glad you're trying to heal, but I'm not going to be in the way and be the victim of your fuck ups forever. You know what I'm saying?
You always used to say, like, you say it still, like, your biggest fear is like, not only I cheat, but it's like, I have a child, right? Because it's like a constant reminder of the cheating, and resources are now split. Time is now split, especially if I'm
then I feel bad for the child who's now a product of this infidelity.
Shit, I forget where I was going with that. I think I just wanted to say that. But that if that's done, do you think that's something that can be fixed in therapy, or that's something that someone can work on? Because it's the same action. It's the same gamble, except let's say one gamble didn't lead to a child, but this time it did.
Yeah.
So do you still give that same level of grace when it's like, all right, now there's a actual physical thing here that reminds me?
Yes. You know why? That reminds me of like something. Growing up, we talk and I mean, as a society, is like the teen mom, like the statistic, like, oh, she had a baby. Oh my God, the teen mom. But it's like, Everybody was fucking. Some of us just got lucky and didn't get pregnant. Or some of us were able to go get an abortion on the low and not say anything to anybody. But everyone's judging and criticizing the mothers who actually decide to have the baby. But it's like we all were taking the same risk.
It's just theirs ended up being pregnant.
Exactly. So that kind of reminds me of that. Like infidelity is infidelity. Of course, now if you got someone pregnant, it just adds layers to the healing. It's going to be difficult, but I don't think it makes you worse. You did the same thing. I guess we could talk about like, well, at least if I cheated, I would use a whatever.
Yeah,
but it's still
condom or not, it's still
fucked up.
Yeah.
It's just going to be much harder to deal with. And now you brought a whole nother human who's now impacted by the fact that their mother was like this other woman type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And also remember, women do get pregnant by other men as well. Because, you know, people be like, oh, you only talk about the men. It could happen either way. Infidelity and children made from infidelity happen both ways.
We were just watching Love is Blind. What's one of the characters? He got a divorce.
Oh, Matt.
Was it a divorce or just the end of a relationship?
It was a divorce. He was married to his high school sweetheart, and then she got pregnant by someone. But he's kind of crazy, so she probably was trying to leave.
Let's focus on the surface. Let's focus on the surface.
Yeah, but again, it happens both ways. So my other question is, what if it's the second reason? Like, they're cheating because they feel like the relationship is over, it's dead, it's boring. It's like, would you forgive then if you realize like maybe you contributed to the relationship turning sour?
So, I mean, I guess it depends, right? Because some people do it in hopes of getting caught. Like, I just really want to be done with this.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like in hopes of getting caught and then all of a sudden you have a light bulb moment where you're willing to fix the things that made me go cheat, that's a big ass risk for a potential reward or a potential positive outcome. Yeah. I don't know if that's worth it. I think you're better off doing it the healthy way, which is like addressing it, doing couples therapy. Yeah. I don't think if you really like, even if there's like 1% of you is like, I wish my marriage would turn around, I wish my relationship would turn around. Cheating
isn't the solution, right? And we get that. But the issue here is it's probably someone who never had the tools of how to express their own needs. Therefore, cheating happens because they literally just don't know how to communicate their needs.
Do you think the excuse of lack of tools is still, you can still use it in 2022?
Yes, because just because we're aware of it, there's stuff I'm learning now because I have a podcast. I wouldn't have learned it before. So it's like I can't judge anyone for not knowing.
I feel like you're learning the verbiage. You're learning how to articulate it. Okay. But there's so much information out there that some of it is even forced upon us. Like, I'm far from a perfect human. I've made many mistakes in my life, and I probably still have a lot more to make. But I know that I'm aware of things that could affect not only you, but my family, myself. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to be able to sleep easy at night. Like, there's nights where I'm fucking drooling, knocked out. How could I do that if like my mind is heavy with the things I know that I'm doing negatively?
You're doing bad shit. Yeah, but that's you. I feel like a lot of my learning about relationships or relational behavior, it's like everybody's experiences are different. And even two people who experience the same thing, they're going to react differently. It's going to impact who they are and their behaviors differently. And it's not so conscious. You know how you said like, oh yeah, I know my dad cheated, so I'm not thinking like, oh, this is why. No one is not that cut and dry. It's like it creates like pathways in your brain and like patterns that you just fall into without realizing. That's why even though I was walking up the stairs to Eli in the bathroom saying, stay calm, when I opened the door, my brain took the wrong path. Like I went into what I'm been used to. Something that helped me in the past. Like I felt so triggered, so on the defense that like no matter what I thought to do, my body was like, nope, you got to do something else.
I'm just thinking about this, and I said that like I knew my father cheated on my mom. It was just something I was aware of since a kid. And when you think about it, I feel like maybe I was kind of numb to it. right? Because yeah, my mom did get cheated on. That's why why they got a divorce. But she was so resilient that to me, like maybe cheating is like whatever, it happens. Sometimes
People go through it. Yeah,
but look at her, she's so strong.
Yeah,
right? Cheating isn't like the end of the world. And without probably I didn't have those thoughts at the time, but like just thinking back and looking at my mother and always admired her adversity. Oh, time has gone on. She's gotten another man. Oh, she's about to get married again. Look at her. She's winning out here.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a little brother now. Look, the cheating isn't that bad.
Yeah. And you're not thinking about it that way, but.
So I feel like even like celebrities, like we always we make it sexy. Like everything's sexy, right? Oh, Kanye and Kim are getting a divorce, but now she got this BDE with Pete, right? But it's like, what about them 4 kids? Like, I'm sure they wish their parents were happy and in love and together forever.
Yeah.
So I feel like you could kind of overlook it as not as big a deal.
And I feel like we sometimes are more forgiving. So someone who's like a narcissist and entitled, we're like, oh, they're just the worst person ever. But if there's someone who's like ashamed and hidden and can't speak up for themselves, we're like, that's childhood trauma. Like, you got to fight. You got to stand up for yourself. And we want to give them the tools to speak up for themselves. But the people who are narcissists and overly expressive, we're like, fuck them. They suck. But at the same time, it's like, that's childhood shit. Someone taught you to be so entitled. Someone taught you to think you're superior than someone else, and that needs to be worked on.
Like one episode, like if you just watch this episode, it's your first time watching We Still Like Each Other, and you hear something that happened, and you immediately would be like, well, Stephanie's outspoken. She must be the bitch, and she's the problem. And Travis is more reserved, and he kind of takes her lickings verbally and probably even physically.
Don't even joke about that, baby.
But you would feel more sorry for me, but in reality, it could potentially be that I'm like the fucked up one.
Yeah. Well, we both have our shit, and that's the thing. Like, we can't say that people who are narcissistic or just stay away from them, fuck them, and then people who are quiet, reserved, and don't stand up for themselves need our push. They both need you, and I feel like it reminds me of how important relationships are. There's so much out there about you need to heal before you're with somebody. Like, no, people need people. We need each other to like just heal.
Yeah, I don't know where I would be if it weren't for you. And then that's not like in some toxic way. Like, if you leave me, I'll die. Like, I just know that my life has been on an upward trajectory since I've met you.
Yeah.
So it's like, without you, what am I going to do? I don't want to know a life without you.
Same. I feel the same.
So yeah, I totally agree. And I don't like, I've never been a fan of that messaging. Like, you got to be 100% healed before you get in a relationship. No, you could be 50% healed and still have a positive relationship.
Yeah. Ow. Just pinch my finger. So yeah, my point, I guess, with this topic is there's things that we consider deal breakers that we can still look at them from a relational standpoint and give people grace. That doesn't mean let people take advantage of you and cross your boundaries that were clearly laid out, but not to give up on people just for their mistakes, and not to consider one mistake bigger than the other. Like, they're all childhood shit from people who are overly, what's the word? Like people who are overly like full of themselves, and people who are reserved all the way, like afraid to speak. Like, they both need fucking help. They both need our support. They both need therapy. It's just that sometimes the passive people seem easier to deal with, but they're both equally hurt and equally need help.
Just looking at 2 hurt people trying to figure this thing called life out.
Yeah.
That's really what we are. And yeah, I'm grateful that you give me the space to heal. And I hope you feel like you have the space. Let's just keep giving each other space, but stay close.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah, I'm good.
My love.
Daddy,
Do you still like me?
I still like you.
My hurt ass.
Yeah. My hurt ass. You still like my hurt ass?
I adore your hurt ass. Let me see you. No. Peace, y'all.
Peace.